Hello there, people of the internet. My name is Ruto Raila and this is Political Headache. We are discussing regarding Gachagua on the 9th of 2025. And in the studio is with me, Joachim, Simeu, and Omondio Chuka on the hot mic. You know, have you sat down with this gentleman?
Just one? No. I think I'll look for that.
Should talk. He's a university teacher.
You
I told you, yeah?
Yeah, you told
So people of the internet, on the July 9th, 2025, His Excellency, the former Deputy President, Rigathi Gachagua, left Kenya for the United States. And the purpose of the tour was discussing state of the nation with the diaspora and international community. You know? And in Seattle, on the 10th to 14th of 2025, his arrival and start, there was a town hall meeting, there was a DCP office launch.
In the US.
Warm welcome upon arrival, described the deliberations as engaging and fruitful, expressed deep concern over nation's direction, and criticized Raila Odinga's relevance and opportunism. Emphasized alliance with Martha Karua. In Dallas, he had a town hall meetings, investor meetings, and community events, focused on the plight of the hustle nation, criticizing criminalization of enterprise and prohibitive fees. They talked about. Then in Boston, Massachusetts, July 17th and onwards, he arrived there and emphasized that the youth, the Gen Z, as the future and the agents of change, condemned violence against protesters, highlighted importance of diaspora remittances. In Baltimore, he was in Baltimore, criticized the president for allegedly telling the police to shoot people in the leg, and then he was in California, and General Literary mentioned, and then so that is exactly what he said. There are some things that Gachagua said when he was in the United States, and one of the things he said, Gachagua explicitly articulated the primary reason of his trip, stating, "Tonight, I'll be traveling to the United States to talk to Kenyans in the diaspora and the international community about the state of the nation." Okay? And we will probably play those clips a little bit. And he said he fired a warning to the president of Kenya and said that if you want to come and arrest me at the airport, you can go ahead. You understand? He said also that nobody wants to overthrow you. We want to remove you from power through the ballot in 2027. To President Ruto, I say this with a lot of humility. Stop being angry. The people of Kenya are far angrier than you are. If you want this to end, restore the dignity of the pay slip. He also told him, stop abduction, stop extrajudicial killings, and if you want peace, disband the killer squad. He told him. He also added, but you don't have a sense of entitlement that they must vote for you. You know what you have done to them and why they have reacted the way they have, and I want to assure you, you cannot scare them into submission. Even if you jail them, they will not submit. These are seasonal descendants of the freedom fighters, as he has always said. Correct? Then there is something also interesting in the diaspora, concerns and political renewal. He said that I had an engaging and fruitful deliberation with Kenyans in Seattle, Washington, and state. I have heard their concerns about our nation and their hope for the better Kenya. He criticized Raila Odinga adversely. Raila is totally irrelevant in the political discourse because every election cycle he loses and finds his way into government. He wants to be in government but doesn't want responsibility. He's there, but somebody else takes the flak. He said, right now, he finds things are too hot for Ruto. He tries to distance himself. I want to ask you guys, what do you think about Ruto going to the United States? And I also saw Matiang'i. I don't know if you listened to Matiang'i's speech. He was full of fluff. And one of the things that was very interesting from Matiang'i's speech, he was saying that in which government do you allow people to go into the streets and kick doors? Which government? To carry rungus? And I'm like, and then he says again, in the same breath, that I want you to elect me and then make sure that I take responsibility.
Hold me accountable.
That is the one.
There's a conversation you had, and I want you to just remind our audience what you said last time about Matiang'i talking as if he's still in government.
Yes, yes. When you look at Matiang'i speaking, he talks like a sitting cabinet minister defending the system. He talks as if he is informing the people of what the government is doing. And he paints a picture of someone saying that what you think is bad is not as bad as you think. You are exaggerating how bad things are. So Matiang'i cannot be someone that we want to come and upset the status quo. He cannot. We need someone who really makes the sitting government worried about him coming in.
Before we go to Gachagua, who is Matiang'i in this whole matrix?
I don't know why we are even hyping Matiang'i. I don't know why we should even talk about him here. I think we are giving him airtime that he does not deserve.
I feel like it's a very deliberate spin because something bigger than Matiang'i is at play here.
Yes.
One, because I think he's a political lapdog for Uhuru Kenyatta, like you mentioned in a previous episode. Number two, there's
in which case, before you go to your point number two, what does Uhuru want from the nation?
Uhuru does not want Ruto. One.
That much is known, yes.
He just doesn't want Ruto. But Uhuru wants someone who is comfortable with him. Uhuru wants someone who is comfortable with. Because we are talking about issues that touch on Uhuru's presidency.
They spill over to him.
Yes. When we talk about prudent management of public finance, it spills over to his regime. When we say that the president who is to come in after William Ruto must deal with public debt audit so that we know where the rain started beating us, Uhuru Kenyatta gets worried. Why Matiang'i? Because Matiang'i will not do these things that we are asking. So he's comfortable with Matiang'i's presidency.
What does Uhuru fear about the national debt?
A lot of money is not accounted for in auditing the national debt of 2013 to 2023.
And he's guilty.
And he's guilty.
Who is going to care to explain a little bit more about this issue that we're talking about so that the audience are in context?
The people of Kenya must know that their life is very hard today because we are forced to pay debt as the people of Kenya, which has led to increase in taxes, which has led to slashing of the pay slip, because we are being told that almost half of the money that we make as the Kenyan people, we must go to pay debt. Constitutionally, you must only borrow money pegged on a development project, not recurrent expenditure, which means you are not going to borrow to pay salaries. You must not borrow to do miscellaneous. It must be some project. We borrowed 200 billion from World Bank for a dam in Makueni, and this is the dam. So that at the time we are paying this money, we can say, National Treasury has successfully paid 200 billion to World Bank, money that was taken to build a dam, and a dam is actually there. So when you are asked to pay as a sovereign of this country, you are paying money that benefited you. But the money that we are paying now, we as the ordinary Kenyans did not benefit.
How so? What can you enumerate some of the money that we got to do which projects, and those projects are not there?
When you look at from 2013 to 2023, government expenditure of the 10 years was 14.8 trillion. Government expenditure. When you look at the amount of revenue collected for the same period of time, it's around 13.5 trillion. So the only deficit we needed to borrow to service the gap is around 1.5 trillion, if much. What did we do? We borrowed almost 9. A lot that we did not need. If government expenditure for the 10 years is 14 trillion, internal revenue collected is 13 trillion. We only needed 1. Then we borrowed 9. Why did we borrow 9? Why were we borrowing 9? People take money in the name on behalf of the country, then use the money on their private actions. The public audit report that is in existence right now, we cannot account for 6.5 trillion borrowed under President Uhuru's regime. 6.5 trillion. Money that you and me are going to pay. They did not come into this country through the consolidated fund of the treasury. Parliament did not approve the borrowing of this money, but somehow you and me are going to pay for it. It concerns every Kenyan. Nobody should think that it doesn't concern them. And you know that these taxes, as we borrow money, it's tax in advance. You just have to convince the president to borrow. Then you have a pipe of money flowing in. It's also a way of controlling people. The money that we are going to be taxed in 2032, we've already spent it today. It's like, you know, you will receive a salary of 40,000 at the end of the month. But then you have borrowed things amounting to almost 35,000. So immediately you are paid, you pay people.
But that is even criminal. It's not like the constitution does not allow a bank to loan you to an extent where if you earn 40,000, then they are taking 35. If you're
more than half 40, of.
You are taking 35. They are taking 35.
And that's why Joachim is telling.
That's why we call it odious debt.
Yeah, it's an odious debt.
It's illegal debt. We are not even supposed to pay. Because we are asking questions. Who borrowed the money? For what? What did it happen?
Was it achieved?
Was it achieved? You don't just come and say, John Bardi the other day told us we have paid 165 billion to World Bank. Now we should stand on our roofs and clap for the government for paying debt. Say, okay, congratulations, you have paid the debt. But wait, what did we do with the money? Where did it go? Who borrowed? When was it? Who was in office? Why did we go and borrow? If it's Thwake Dam, did we build it with the money? No. But the money came in, yes. And we are paying, yes. And the dam is not there. Then someone took the money. That's the whole issue. The reason why the economy is in dilapidated state is because we are paying more than half of what we make to debt. And Uhuru Kenyatta has a lot to explain.
Why is Uhuru Kenyatta running around free, eating Torah around?
Because the person who is in charge now is complicit in the same crime. He was a deputy president when all these things were happening. When we open that Pandora's box, no one is safe. Even the president who is in office today. To some extent.
Even Raila.
Even Raila.
When they joined the handshake.
Yes.
There was some money that was spent there that was not.
Because something that I want to get very clearly, and I think the audience is also wondering, because if I borrow, if I lend you some money,
yes,
I need it back.
Yes.
And you cannot tell me that, look,
I am not.
It got lost.
Before you come in.
Okay, yes.
These financiers, the word lenders, you need to borrow within the constitution of that country. So when we write a letter to the Federal Bank of the US, that we are not going to pay this particular amount of money because it was not used according to our constitution, then what they will do is to look at the people who came for the money. Because we have our constitution, they will ask, what does your constitution say? So here, we only borrow for development. And according to our records, the money that you are talking about did not come in through the consolidated fund, which is constitutional. Parliament did not approve, which means the person who came for the money took the money for his own private use. So as far as the national records are concerned, we do not have that money here. So can you get more explanation from the one who took money? There is a president who did that. Was it Malaysian president? He didn't pay debt. They had to come and take government officials who were in charge at the time of borrowing. So as a country, we should actually not pay some money that we are being asked to pay. If this amount of money, the debt is going to mature in the next financial year, let's say in September there is some debt that will mature, then we have to go back. When was it borrowed? In 2014, okay, good. Who was president? Uhuru Kenyatta. Why did you borrow? To build a road. Do we have that road? No. Good. And we don't have the money? Yes. Elezea wale walikukopesha.
It's really funny.
They shouldn't. They shouldn't.
That's
This
really,
is very serious.
that's really funny.
It kind of reminds me of, I don't know if, but most of us do know what Economic Crimes Act. How when you do like a proceed of crime, maybe corruption, and you abet me or you help me through it, you are also just as much as liable. And I think for a long time, President used to go for loan. Like I remember back in the 80s or early 90s when President went to the US and he came back with yellow maize, you know, and part of the exchanges that happened between the two presidents of the US and President Moi was a strategic location, naval location at the Mombasa port, you know. And so for a long time, there has never been any transparency, whereas a president acts on the behest of the country to go for a loan. And this is how major corruption and what we call charter underhand deals have been happening, where government officials borrow so much money, but there is no transparency, there's no disclosure in terms of where this money is going to be spent and how. And therefore, we cannot even imagine as citizens that this person can actually be held liable or accountable for misappropriating the funds. And this is something that many presidents, including President Ruto, is actually really trying to avoid at all cost. Because they still imagine, we still live in that era where the president was a de facto, like you, by fact, you could exercise any instrument, economic instrument on behalf of the country, and you would not be asked any question. And I think we need to move towards the point of, if a president or a treasury minister or CES is supposed to act on behalf of the country to maybe secure a loan facility, then at some point, if this money is mishandled or it doesn't reach the country, because Eurobond never reached the country,
Yes.
almost 2/3 of it never reached the country, you know. So if that happens, what are the constitutional mandates that we have? And we do have them, you know. Just like, for example, if you borrow money for development, and that is what is actually stipulated in the Constitution, and you end up not using that money for that particular development. And we also should go beyond just using the money for roads, because we've seen roads that are carpeted for 2 centimeters. After 2 months, that road is gone. So that means the money that was intended for that particular appropriation was not used.
It was not used.
The question that I keep wondering about the whole issue of Eurobond not showing up in the country after it had been given by whoever they are, is that, well, I hear that the Auditor General sounded an alarm and said that, look, I cannot see this money. Where is it? In my head, I am thinking that there is a route that you follow. There is a
paper trail.
So once the Auditor General realizes that, look, we do not have this money, what is the next step? Because do they just supposed to call a press conference and bitch about it? Or
that's all it ends with the Auditor General. Like, let me say you are an auditor in a company. You have realized that there's some procurement of some things. Something is missing. And the person you need to go and report this thing to is actually the one who took it. So, you have your employees here. One employee realizes there is a particular camera missing. Then the person who should tell you that the camera is missing is the one who took it. And the person who has realized cannot come to you direct. He has to go to Ochuk and tell him, hey, ambia Jagero, kuna kamera moja haiko. Na mwenye anafaa kuja kuambia kamera moja haiko, yeye ndiye alichukua hiyo kamera. You know, it ends there. And you don't know. The thing is, you have so many cameras that you don't even know one is missing. So that's where it ends. With the Auditor General, for them is to identify what is wrong, this one is missing, you come and say it.
Say it to who?
To the country. Like, even if you go and table the report to the president, you do not have the capacity to force the president to to follow. They will tell you we are following up. You saw the other day when the Auditor General said we have 1.3 trillion that for a period of 7 months have been manually withdrawn. For undisclosed reasons from the Treasury. 1.3 trillion was manually withdrawn from the Treasury, and the Auditor General comes and says it. Did you see the response of the government mandarins in Parliament?
What did they say?
Junet Mohammed and Kimani Ichung'wah called the Auditor General corrupt. All of a sudden, they realized, is she called Nyakango? She's corrupt. And they
threatening to...
Yes. They threatened her and all that. They actually say they will slash the budget allocation to the Office of the Auditor General so that she's incapacitated in doing some duties. They actually said we should disband this office. Yes. They say that we don't even need the Auditor General. Because they looked at her and they say, oh, we didn't factor in the Auditor General knowing that we are going to manually withdraw money. We didn't actually think about. And why do we need this office actually? Because it's going to be...
Who manually withdrew it?
And that's a question that everyone is asking.
That's the thing. And it also brings to light... Remember when Uhuru said about 2 billion gets lost
every day?
And that's the president talking.
Yes. You saw, and when you ask those questions, I asked that question, John Mbadi, when he came to Bunge la Mwananchi. He didn't answer it. During your at that time, John Mbadi had just assumed office. And at the time the Auditor General was making these revelations, it was exactly 7 months. And the Auditor General said, within 7 months, 1.3 trillion has been manually withdrawn. The previous corruption scandals were only in billions. But for the first time in our history,
over the mark.
We broke the glass ceiling and went to 1.3. Where do you think the money they are dishing around in bags every time we are going to empower? Someone is with the 10 million in Embu, the other one is with the... And you saw that photo of the chairman for Defense Committee. It's called Nelson Koech, with a whole bundle of money like this. Where are they getting it from?
He was carrying money like that?
Yes.
Where?
In a Harambe, in Rift Valley, somewhere, I don't know where. A whole bunch of money. Cash.
Like the
the
Moist time.
1992 style.
Yes. That's why I keep saying you only do things that you know.
That you are as well.
So these people, the only things they know is to walk around with money. That to them, that's empowerment. Give him 2,000. You are empowered. That's why I hate this word empowerment so much.
And then also, if you look at it very keenly,
you hate the word empowerment?
Because for you to be empowered, you must surrender your own fate and
fragility,
into someone's hands.
you are their mercy.
Yes, that I can only stay here until I'm empowered to go to town. So you come and give me some 200 so that I can get to town. And they say, I empowered him to go to town. The word should be self-reliance. So that without that member of parliament coming with his bunch of money, you can still do your things.
You can do around this.
Why was he walking around with the money?
So that people think he's a solution to their problem.
Conveniently showing up.
You see, they don't steal because they need money. They steal so that you don't get rich and stand for yourself, so that they be your gods. How else will the average member of parliament in this country campaign if roads are good, we have street lights? What will they say? Most of them are completely empty here. There is nothing between their ears. You see, people say that unlike the stomach which alerts you when it's empty,
The brain does not.
the brain does not. You could be having an empty head, but you don't know because it doesn't say.
But you should be able to see what others are doing.
You are not even able to see because you need good brains to see what people are doing. Yes, even seeing needs brains. That's why you can be doing something very bad here and someone is watching and he doesn't see the badness in what you're doing. Because the brain has not synthesized that information and interpreted it. You see? So the biggest motivation of stealing, according to me, is to deliberately create this menace of poverty among the people, so that it becomes a currency on which they thrive on.
And when you tie it to borrowing back again,
Yes.
there's something that we have been consistently trying to shed a light on in terms of the complicity of most international financial sectors like IMF and World Bank, and how deliberately they cripple countries because they know the kind of leaders they're dealing with. They know how greedy they are. They know most of these monies will never be utilized as per the instruments of their borrowing. They know.
I wonder whether World Bank gives some money to Norway.
You know, this World Bank and IMF, these multinational corporations that lend money, they don't lend money so that it can be used in those countries. No, they know that this particular president, the fact is that when you see a country like America liking your president,
Should be an alarm.
then that president is not good for that country. They give you money knowing that you are not going to use this money to help your people. You are not going to use this money to develop your country. And they will get, by giving you that money, they will get a lot of money back in terms of interest for a very long period of time.
And leverage as well.
And leverages. They say, hey, you will not be able to meet this deadline. In the next 4 months, unafaa ulipe this amount of money. And with the way of your government and maandamano ya vijana, wana vijana wanaleta shida, you will not be able.
Yes.
Yes. So now do this. We can help you. We can restructure the debts. But can you make your court tell your judges to give LGBTQ community recognition in that country? And because you cannot say no, because they gave you money that you didn't use, You have to do it. It's a way of controlling. I told you that the deadliest war that will ever happen is where Africans will decide to be actually free. Because the poverty of the African nations is very lucrative to the North and global North. Go and look at how much money European Union makes by bringing second-hand clothes here in Africa. A lot of it. When Raila was saying, I will cut on importation of second-hand clothes. Do you know the whole Europe is like,
What are you saying?
What is this guy saying?
He's mad.
For you feel so good as, I'll be wearing new clothes. Think about how is the European Union thinking and how is America thinking about the same thing? How do they see it?
Because I remember they even penalized Rwanda.
Yes.
For actually cutting off the...
You are giving them headache of one, waste management. Disposing the waste. They have to bring it to Africa so that becomes our problem. And they post videos of how their countries are very clean and Africa is dirty when they are the ones who dumped used. They give you a t-shirt that you will wear for a few months, it may fade. That's why even laptops, you find that this one is a reconditioned. Why is it so difficult to get a real new laptop?
ex-UK.
Yes, you say this one is ex-UK, very reconditioned. Why reconditioned? Give me a new one. So that when you use it after 1 year, the batteries are done. Nyinyi mkuwe na shida ya dispose. So when Raila says we will have one country, one product, so that we do our own value addition here, and we only export.
Import substitution.
Raw material.
Finished products. They get scared. Because they know the prices they get raw coffee. They know that when we do our own value addition here, we will sell it to them at very exorbitant prices. They will not manage. So they have to cripple our manufacturing sector here. So that we only sell to them nauza coffee in terms of seeds. Then you import the same coffee at a very high price.
The farmer cannot afford it.
Yes, that's why hii kahawa watu wengi wanakunywa huku ni third generation, kwanza ni reduce. They only bring in coffee. That's why when you buy coffee in a Muthaiga mini mart and someone has bought coffee in a Mudhurwa market, there's a very big difference. Because the one in the Mudhurwa market is not coffee, it's a reduce. It's meant for average Kenyans. The real coffee is in Muthaiga, but because we cannot afford, it has to. And the one in Muthaiga, we are not the ones who did the value addition. It was imported. We import coffee that is being planted here in Kiambu. When you go to UK, say, let me take coffee. Do they have any coffee plantations?
No, they don't.
Not even one. I like coffee. Where are they getting the coffee?
And yet their mornings are run by coffee.
Coffee. Could you give me a glass of coffee? Look at them. We are giving them coffee. That's why they do not want progressive leaders to take
And then that takes us to Gachagua and the lot of them that have escaped to the United States.
Yes.
Why do you think that most presidents, who's going to take this first? Why do you think Gachagua, for example, is in the United States? Because a bunch of Kenyans in Seattle.
He could
because
just.
I saw those what is it called? The town halls. There were very few people.
That's the mentality for Gachagua as a village kingpin, as most people see it. He has raised very valid reasons, actually. And just like we said in our previous episodes, there are so many ways in which Gachagua, for all his foul mouth and all that, can be useful to the progressive nature of our politics going forward. But I also think there's something bigger at play. When you see people running to America, for example, in what seems sort of like a political asylum, why couldn't he do the same media briefing here? Why did it have to be in America? And then why there's a particular sentiment or comment he made that was targeting the Kikuyu community. In other words, it's the same incitement he has for so long pondered about, telling Kikuyus that you are the people who are running this country. And that's the retrogressive nature of his politics, which I don't like, for example. That pitches one community against the other, thinking that they're the same, they're the very people who are running the industry of the country, they're the very gear that runs the country. And yet, if one community were to be completely disintegrated off the map of Kenya, I think Kenya would not stand possible a chance. So I feel like, in essence, I feel like maybe the US is playing a pitch against war amongst the political class, because they are inviting secretly. We do not see these invitations happening or visas being issued and all that, but I think that is happening in the background. And they are seeing a way of charging the diasporic population, because diasporic population is very important in certain countries like Kenya, South Africa, Nigeria. Very important because, one, remittance. Two, they have a certain foreign affairs relations voice, whereby when they speak, sort of the international community is able to pick that noise very fast. That had it been, let's say, the media briefing were to be in Serena for the politician of his caliber. So I do feel that sometimes he's making a bigger political calculation in terms of going to where, because the US has a very big interest in Kenya. So when he goes to their veranda to make that media briefing, he's taking it to them. And he's also making a political pitching for himself. That I am here, use me. And most likely they will use him.
They will.
I don't know what you're thinking.
How would they use him? Because first of all, there is word going around that Trump is the host, and I saw big cars, and some of them were, I think, what is it called, the marshals and the sheriff.
You know,
Also,
US
do you think Trump likes Ruto?
I hope that you are enjoying that episode, people of the internet. You know, everybody says there is no job, and that is true. Also, that was me 10 years ago. The problem is that everybody is trying to get a job in their own town, in their own city, in their marketplace. They ask friends for jobs, mothers call uncles, uncles call fathers, but there are no jobs, right? Let me tell you what no one is telling you. Jobs migrated online. What I actually mean is there are many, many jobs around the world, and there is no one to do them. I have worked for a long time online, I think more than 10 years. I work for Americans, I work for Europeans, I work for the Chinese, the Australian, Canadians, the Ugandans, name all of them. And last year, I had a eureka moment. I said to myself, you know what? I should compile what I have been doing for the last 15 years. So in 2024, I wrote a book called Gold Mine, 18 Side Hustles for Africans. And it sold a lot of copies. In fact, I was going for, sometimes I was receiving 500 orders in a day. In 2025, something happened. AI came. I think in 2025, AI came. AI came in 2024, but in 2025, it is here with us. And people say AI is taking away their jobs. And for me, I'll say false. There are actually AI jobs. Na mimi ni nani? I created more jobs. We now have in my book 25 online and offline side hustles that you can do anywhere in the world, whether you are in the village, whether you are in your small town, whether you're in a marketplace, whether you are in your house, you can do them. In this powerful volume 2, I share 25 new actionable online hustles specifically researched and tailored for Africans. My new book provides clear step-by-step guidance, drawing from my extensive experience and research, including the mistakes I have made, and lessons I have learned over 15 years in this online job market. You can become an executive assistant to busy folks in Europe, America, and Canada. You can also get paid for tasks like watching videos and taking online surveys. There are many of them, and they're in my book. You can also build a business as a virtual assistant, start an e-commerce without a shilling. You can also become an affiliate marketer or an online English tutor. And you can also do tens of AI jobs, and they're all in these books. If you have a job, that is fine, but I know around you there are so many people that are always looking for jobs and at home watching Netflix. Buy this book for your brother, for your sister, for your mother, cousin, husband, who is back at home all day, all night watching Netflix. Okay? Buy it for your friends. That friend who is always asking you for cash, you can buy this book for them. All the information is in the description below. You can also inbox me, you can WhatsApp me, or you can go to my website, which is oduorjagero.co.ke. The book is only 1,000 Kenya shillings. Or if you're anywhere around the world, the book is $10. So thank you very much. Back to programming.
On top, sorry.
Trump, let me say, someone in Kenya, seeing U.S. Marshals and county sheriffs escorting Gachagua, you might think it's a very big thing. U.S. Marshals are just street police in the U.S. Yeah. If it was the Home Affairs or how are they called? Secret Service and the FBI escorting Raila, Gachagua, I will think it's something big. And then the police in the U.S. use very big cars. Chevrolet and Ford are usually big. So for someone who is used to life in Nairobi and you see in a video Gachagua is being escorted by a white police officer in uniform, you think it's something very big. No. And they also take safety very, very seriously. They know that this is not our citizen. If something happens here, we are the ones who are going to explain. We must provide security for them. But I have an issue with anybody who wants to be president, but they have to go to the US. Like I was asking a question. Why must our presidential candidates go to Chatham House in London?
Yeah.
To explain themselves, by some journalist who doesn't even give them a chance to answer. Why didn't I see Trump and that other one? What was and Kamala Harris come to KICC and get grilled why they want to be presidents of the U.S.? I didn't see that happen. But you have Kenyans have to go to Chatham House. And then they are asking William Ruto, what will you do to the economy, to improve the economy of Kenya? How is that their problem? Like I saw a U.S. general, a general of military, saying that Traore is misusing the gold in Burkina Faso. What is the issue of an American when Traore misuses the gold of his own country? Why is he concerned?
But he's not concerned when Uhuru is cutting away
Yes, he's not concerned when young people are killed on the streets of Nairobi. I didn't see that general or any senator in the U.S. say that it is bad to kill young people. But they are saying, Traore is misusing gold. What is your problem?
Because suddenly their gold reserves are touched.
Yes. When you see your neighbor throw a whole chapati in a dustbin, why do you feel sad? It is the neighbor who incurred the cost of getting that chapati na ametupa kwa dustbin. Wewe unakasirika kwa nini? That's what that general is doing. I want to believe that Gachagua in the U.S., because the creation of tribes was actually the idea of Muzungu.
It's a very state affair.
How do you manage these people? You manage these people by creating some demarcations among them. Call these Kikuyu, call these Luo. Like, for example, Luos and Luyas when the first white people came, and they called them all Kavirondo. And they said, these are one tribe. Later on, they realized the people they thought one tribe, they are not. They are very different. That's later in life, because they saw people with a dark skin, huge. They said, this is one tribe. Later on, they realized, apana, these people are not the same tribe. So when you see Gachagua speak to make Kikuyus feel entitled, it's because he cannot survive in a political area where a tribe is not the currency to use. When you take away tribe, how does Gachagua remain relevant? Because Gachagua will always mention Mulima. Mulima this, Mulima that. Mulima this. Mulima. There is nothing wrong with mentioning where you come from. But have you sat down and thought about, like there was a time I saw Jane Kihara, the member of parliament, I don't know.
Naivasha, I believe.
Naivasha. Saying things, this is someone who is campaigning against William Ruto. This is someone who should understand, because she's a member of parliament, I want to believe she understands that you cannot win election just one tribe. You need the vote of a Luo, the vote of a Luya, a Kisi, a Kikuyu, combined for you to be able to win this election. What does she say? She said it in Kikuyu. Kama kuna lugha usiwahi sengenya nayo mutu.
Kikuyu. Kwa nini?
Nearly everyone knows Kikuyu. You might go to a Kinyozi and see people looking like Luos because they are huge and dark and say, let me sengenya watu. You will realize they have understood everything. So Jane Kihara stands in a funeral and said, Mutu moja aombe Raila kesho amuke hayuko. I don't agree with Raila right now, but that statement is not good. Assuming there is a Luo in Kisumu who is against Ruto, with very valid reasons, is saying one term. Then he hears Jane Kihara saying Raila should die tomorrow. That person out of anger will decide to vote for William Ruto.
That reminds me of what you were saying the other day. Ruto must go, but somebody said Raila something.
Yeah. That thing punctured our momentum. We are so charged.
Absolutely.
Ruto must go. Then someone shouted in the back, Raila ni kono man. More than half of the people stopped chanting Ruto must go. They came back and explained to us, how is Raila kono man? It's not that they do not agree with the Ruto must go.
They do.
They do, and they really want him to go. But you have just said Raila is a con man. So, and I said, for us to win this, there are people we need to ignore. When we give them attention, we lose the focus. People like Raila, we should behave like they don't exist. When we give that guy attention, we are going to lose the focus. Because if there is anybody who knows how to place his name in every political discussion, you should mention him. It's Raila Odinga. Look at what he has done. Conclave. Anywhere you go and you're discussing politics, you must mention conclave. And who brought it? Raila Odinga.
And by the time conclave discount is burning out, there will be another one.
Yeah, there will be another one. I said this wakati alikuwa na campaign mambo ya AU. Raila knows how to keep people busy discussing him. He actually doesn't care whether you are saying it negatively or positively. But as far as you are mentioning him, he's good. So after Raila has lost AU, because I knew he would lose.
What do you mean you knew you'd lose?
One of the predictions I've made, and they went viral because they came true, is when I talked about Raila Odinga losing the AU.
What did you say at the time?
I said that because I was telling some other guys now, by now when you are supporting Raila Odinga, you should be very careful. When supporting Raila Odinga, you should always look at his body language. You must never be angrier than him and happier than him. Just go the way he is. There is something Museveni said during the Luo festival, in Siaya, and I think and I think
tissue paper.
And I think people did not get the message. When Museveni said, power is down here. Raila Odinga, where you are going, it's like a chairman of the village.
Huko AU.
Yes, he said AU is like a chairman of, kama chairman ya Gijiji. Power is here. In other words, our brothers from Nyanza were being told, don't be excited about this thing of AU. It's more important for Raila to be here. And I told some people, look, that statement was very big. But they didn't listen. I said, Raila Odinga introduces himself. My name is Raila Odinga, a politician and a businessman. That last introduction is the most important, a businessman. Raila could have lost the AU, but he never regretted even for a minute. Why? He got out of the campaign richer than he got in. Who talks about Trans-African Beltway from Lamu to Bangi in West Africa, and then fiber optic connection from Nairobi to Cape Town, interconnectivity in Africa? He talks about Africa doing intra-African trade. That is not, you don't have to go to Europe to sell your coffee. You can sell it to Cameroon. So as he campaigns, he goes to China, says, I want to be the AU chairman. When I win, I want these infrastructural things, because he's the one who developed PIDA, Program for Infrastructural Development in Africa. It's a program that is in the AU, but it will never be actualized. So he tells the Chinese, when I win, because the Chinese, you are good at construction, you will construct the Trans-African Beltway from Lamu to Bangi in West Africa. But now you have to finance my campaign so that I win. The Chinese will give him money. Then he goes to Germany. They have the best locomotives. Say, when I become chairman, you will provide this and this and this. But finance my campaign. They will see how they will gain out of his chairmanship. They will give him money. So even if he doesn't lose, he doesn't win, has he lost anything?
There's actually more gains.
Yes. He has not lost. The only person who has lost is the one who supported him very emotionally.
and had TVs in Nyalenda and Kondele.
Yes. I was at a Kanwalk and I was telling people, hey, guys, people were so many to leave anyone.
There's also something very peculiar about Raila Odingaism, where he sells the hidden part of politics.
Yeah.
I don't know whether that makes sense. Here's the thing. Many people who trust Raila have always completely delegated political agency to him. Baba knows. I'm very sure we've had that almost. Baba knows. And this has happened even with AU, because a lot of people were waiting for what Raila will say or do post-AU. We were waiting for that so much. A lot of people were waiting when ile mandamano ya sufuria.
Yes.
When it was happening. What is Raila going to say after?
Yes.
And he likes edging people. There's something in edging people very so much close that they can fall, but not enough to fall.
Yes.
And I think that is one of his biggest political weaponry. He has weaponized it so well, so much that people, even right now, are still waiting because Baba knows he has the interest of his people at heart. And I don't think that's entirely true. I think as a business person, he's usually using this political emotionalism towards his advantage. And I think that is also what Gachagua might be doing.
You know, you mentioned Gachagua saying Raila is an opportunist. If there is anyone who wants to be like Raila Odinga, it's Gachagua.
Say that again.
If there is anybody in this country who yearns to be like Raila Odinga in everything, it's Gachagua.
Explain.
There's a time Gachagua was being interviewed, and he said he wants to go and do benchmarking in ODM. And ask Raila, how was he able to build this big political vehicle machine that has lasted all this time? Actually, he was very honest. I can say by at that time, he was very honest.
At what point was he saying this? After his departure from the government?
Yes. Said he wants to go benchmarking in ODM. So previously, he was saying Raila uses his people to get to government. But later on, he says he wants to do benchmarking in ODM, which means he wants to do exactly the same. I can say that right now, even Gachagua is not interested in being president. He wants numbers in parliament.
So
they
that
can control by proxy.
You can control government while outside. What gives Raila that power? Raila can be invited by Senate to go and address them. As who? Because he has numbers in parliament, both houses. To an extent that if the government wants to pass a particular bill,
He's consulted.
he's consulting so that he can whip his people into accepting. You need to go to Baba and say,
The party can whip
Yes.
every other MP.
And do you think this is the game plan that Gachagua is gearing towards?
Absolutely.
and that's why I'm saying Gachagua has not grasped the shift in times. You cannot play that politics again. Its time is
Not
up.
anymore.
Its time is up. You cannot be a Raila Odinga past 2027.
But I disagree. I think he can, because if, for example, his briefcase company is called DCP, correct? And I imagine that in 2027 there are lots of people that are going to troop into parliament on that ticket.
He thinks that way. If tribalism was as sellable as it used to be, then I can tell you for sure right now Kikuyus will be so hated in this country. That is what the government has tried to do. It has really pushed
That agenda, yeah.
that agenda, but it's not selling, because the kind of people you are selling to, majority of them are like, hey, look,
These are our brothers and sisters. They are not.
how am I going to? Right now there is a lot of intermarriages. You could be a Kamba who hates a Kikuyu very much, but your daughter has a son with Karanja. So when you try to hate a Kikuyu, you are hating your own grandson. You are a Luo, you don't want a Kikuyu, you call them Okuyu, but your son has Nyambura.
They have 2 kids.
They have 2 kids. And that Kikuyu lady is the one who bought you, who
Did the interior?
yes. So akasema mama hii nyumba nataka ni maintain. That Kikuyu that you hate. So even as you try to hate, you say, hey,
It bites you back.
hey, it's no longer Kikuyu that is in the central. She's here in your
Right
home.
at home.
That is why you remember it is usually there is a lot of tension in many households in Kenya during elections.
Yes.
Because the house is completely broken into two.
Yes.
That distance is no longer there.
Ukisimama kwa nyumba useme, hao wa Kikuyu wametulima sana. Bibi kwa bedroom anasikia. Nalimo Kikuyu. Hatumesema nini? Yeye sijasema kitu.
The video may call truce.
I was told by a girl that politics is a no-go zone in their house.
Yes.
Yeah, for many.
Because
particularly
in the cities.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we are the ones who spread the message to the interior. in the rural areas. So the agenda of using tribe to get relevance in politics is going to die. You saw the hashtag, we are all Kikuyus. They said Kikuyus are the only people who are against this government. And they are the ones who are making Ruto look bad. Then people said, hey, is that so? Yes. If then it's Kikuyus who are against this government, then we are all, I'm also a Kikuyu.
Yeah.
Yes. Kama ni lazima kwe Mkikuyu ndo upinge Ruto, then mimi pia ni Mkikuyu. And that's where it started from. People said, we are all Kikuyus.
So that political inflammation never worked.
It never worked.
It backfired, actually.
And that's how government bloggers thought very fast and said, immediately there was a hashtag that followed, we are all Kenyans.
To counter and dilute
to try and counter, we are all Kikuyus. But it all falls on the same because these Kikuyus are all Kenyans.
At the end of the day?
Yes. I saw someone saying, they built a road to Nyeri. Kwani Nyeri ni wapi? Si ni Kenya bad. You should not feel bad when a road is built to Nyeri. Try and build a road to your area. If you have a leader who never comes home, that when there is a funeral and a senior person has died in their family, that's when wanatengeneza barabara ya kwenda kwao. How do you blame another tribe that you don't have roads in your area? Hii idea ya, the knowledge in the young people is helping. Because you wonder. There's a young lady who was recorded on TikTok and said, I was told so many things about Luos. She was a Kikuyu. I went to university, and that was the first time I met Luos in the university. I expected to see monsters. Anapata Otieno mwenye anafaa kumsaidia assignment. Ni Mjaluo. Anashanga, hey, ama kuna Mjaluo mwingine. Anangojea Ochieng. Hey, then what is bad with these people? They are good people. So why did we hate them so much? So it is going, it wanes as time goes. And most of the political class has not grasped that. Majority, both in opposition.
They are burying their heads in the sand.
Yes, both in opposition and in government. So when Jan Kihara said Raila should be, aombewa kufe, hizo miaka za nyuma angepigiwa makofi sana. But now people are like, eh?
We hate them say, but that's not what you say.
Haijafika hapo. Hiyo hapana. And those are your own people.
There's humanity to it.
Yes. So you have to come up with other progressive ideas to lead this country.
Because I think also the idea that Raila is bad, imetafunwa huku. I remember there is I don't remember the politician.
Yes.
But siku ya chungwa.
Yes.
He said, ai, na indimu. Aishi. Mweka kwa chai, mweka kwa maji, ndimu. Chunga mmefinya, hata kala za hizi orange. So it reminds me of what they usually do with those things. It's not, even Badi talked so badly against the
Kikuyu.
Against the Kikuyus.
You know.
And then Halwale had to come and say, but you are not even a Luo.
Yes, yes. He had to be reminded. Because there was a time for you to win a seat in Nyanza, you praise Raila and vilify Kikuyus.
Yeah.
For you to win a seat in Central, you vilify Kikuyu.
You vilify Luos.
You vilify Luos.
You vilify Luos and criticize Raila.
Yes. That is what has been giving us bad leadership. That's why Wamalwa Kijana said, in this country, what shapes our politics is either Raila mania or Raila phobia. There are those people. Yes. There are those people who are Raila mania. It's Raila who has said it, it's done. There are those people who, ni Raila amesema.
You have to find
hata kama ni mzuri aje, Raila amesema. You know, hapo nyuma, hii kitu inaenda kisha. When Gachagua was pushing one shilling, one man, one vote. Tribalism was still not so badly off. Then Raila thought and said, how watu wana support Gachagua? How do I puncture this movement? He agreed with it. He came and said, kama nataka namna hiyo, ni sawa. So how do you go on? You know, unafaa usupport kitu Raila anapinga. But hii kitu una support Raila amesema iko sawa. It died.
They abandoned ship and later on they regretted it.
Yes, it died. Post 2027, na hizo miaka zingine za kuja, if you are a politician, you have to think outside tribe. If you are coming with, nasikia watu wanasema, tukifika 2027, everybody will go to their own tribe. Why are they taking so long to go to their own tribe? Why are they not in their tribes now? It's the same. People are thinking, you want to hate a Kikuyu, but then you remember you have rent arrears of about 3 months.
You lose your landlord?
The landlord is a Kikuyu. Nani mama anakuja kwa kijana yangu namwambia ni kubaya nakwambia ni sawa utanipea. Then you remember you are a Luo and you once lived in a Luo's house.
And they kicked you out.
Tarehe 5 ako kwa mlanga anakwambia we nipe pesa. Kama una alikufukuza. Nakumbuka. Ni Mjaluo alinifukuza kwa nyumba yake. Na mimi ni Mjaluo. Ninaishi kwa nyumba ya Mkikuyu. Sijalipa miezi ngapi? She's still patient with me. So how do I become tribal? Even those people who think that they can engineer Rift Valley to be violent, the people who are in Rift Valley now are different people. The people who were there in 2007, the level of primitivity that was there in 2007 has really gone down. It was very rare to meet a Kalenjin in Nairobi. Ukikutana na yeye is either polisi ama jeshi, anaishi kwa barracks. Saa hii uko kwa matatu unasikia mtu anaongea Kikale kwa basi. So there is exposure. When that person goes back to Marigat, there is a different way of thinking. So ukiita Mkikuyu kwekwe, hiyo kitu haingii, anasema hapana. Mkikuyu ni kwekwe kwekwe.
I don't even know what that means, bro.
Kwekwe.
The equivalent of a tuara.
Ni weeds.
Ni weeds.
Yes, so ukisema unatoa kwekwe kama umepanda njugu, unatoa hizo weeds uache njugu. So in 2007, Joshua Arap Sang used to say tunangoa kwekwe. So Kikuyus were weeds in the land of Kalenjins. So walikuwa wanangoa Kikuyu. It was a way of weaponizing.
Where is Sang now?
I don't know where he is. I don't even know. So you cannot come with such tactics. You know, the only way to quell all this disquiet in the country, just make sure that people have access to money without struggle. Kenyans will not even want to know who is the Minister for Tourism. As far as that Minister for Tourism does not do anything that stops them from getting money. You know, when you say it's economics, people think it's a very big thing. Apana, economics is about how are you accessing money. It's purely that. Say at the end month, hawkers used to know when it's end month. Kuanzia to date 25 to date 10.
The corner changes.
Everything.
Even cars used to be many on the road.
Yes. Sai hawker inafika date 2 na ajui. Because it's
very
still the same.
unpredictable, yeah.
The disposable income in your pocket is very little. So unapata mtu akikaa hivi akifikiria kunywa soda kwanza anapiga hesabu. Before nikunywe soda, mafuta niko nayo, fare ya kesho, piga hesabu, akiona akikunywa soda kesho ataenda job mguu na wacha.
Tactic.
Yes. That's why Coca-Cola is one of the companies that knows when Kenyans don't have money. Because it's a luxury. People first stop taking luxuries. You want to kula skuma, nini. Unapata sasa hiyo time. Do you know Omena doesn't sell so much when there is money? Omena sells when people are broke.
Like cabbage.
And cabbage. So it's only the seller of omena who is enjoying the economy now.
People of the internet.
You get
That was a beautiful podcast. I loved it. I loved the way we started, went to America, came back out of America, talked about tribalism. People of the internet, thank you very much for always coming around and enjoying our episode. This is Political Headache, and all we are suffering here is a headache of politics.
Yes.
How can it be better? Have you ever thought about why we call it political headache?
I was thinking the other day.
Yeah.
And actually thought about it and said, Kenyan politics is actually a headache. Yes. Maramoja.
Yeah. So please consider subscribing, hit on that notification bell, and if you want to be a guest here, we welcome you. My dream with the political headache is to a place where we are going to be talking real politics and the issues that really affect this country.
Yes.
Without fear and favor. I remember you saying something that we discuss these things in honesty and with respect.
Yes. Yes.
So even when you are seeing that people are telling you that
honesty.
and it's really, really important that one of my biggest joy as a podcaster and as political headache is that we will have a town hall meetings where people will be coming and saying, for example, I would really love Sakaja to tell us what he's doing in Nairobi.
Yes.
Because Kingara Road is just smelling shit every day.
Every day.
And those people are living there and paying top dollar. But that place is always smelling sewage. And somebody told me, a realtor, the other day, that, do you know what? We have completely exhausted the water table in Kilimani.
Because of boreholes everywhere. And there's no regulation.
And the regulation is that there is a radius that you must take into account before you chimba a borehole. But you realize that in Kilimani, somebody has put a borehole, the same owner of the same compound, but then suddenly doesn't have water. Then he has to dig another one and dig the third one.
Kilimani is better. Isli is worse.
Really?
Isli is worse. Actually, if we continue like that, Isli can even sink. Because everyone that is building a skyscraper is digging a borehole. So that base that holds that area is being weakened every day. There is that radius, as you have said. If you have dug a borehole here, there is a distance before you dig another one. So if you dig everywhere,
The excavations.
yes, those buildings can sink one day. And it's going to be tough. People think that just because you have money to go around the rules and how things are done, then you are brilliant. Some people think because they circumvented around laws, they are niwajanja. People who came up with these laws were not fools. Think about, ukienda hivi, itakuwaje, mwingine pia. You see? Like people say, do whatever it takes to get what you want. What if everyone decided to do that? That you have this plot and everyone has decided to do whatever it takes to get this plot? There will be no safety. And our leadership, as you've said, the governor of Nairobi should sit on a podcast like this in an unregulated area and tell us exactly what he's doing. The last time I saw him, he was walking in the streets at Kidogo, Katoka. Because most of Kenyans want to go, and like my friend Kiberenge said, that you cannot solve a public problem with a private solution. When the road is muddy, you don't buy many gumboots. You have to find a way of making that road to be better so that even the person who cannot afford gumboots
can walk on it
comfortably. But what are we thinking? Oh, we have poor roads in the rural areas. Let me get a car with the big tires so that even if nikienda ushago sikwami. Have you thought about the one with a Vitz who cannot afford a car with big tires? Why don't we, instead of buying a car with big tires, come up with a way of how do we make these roads to be useful to everyone?
Including pedestrians.
Including pedestrians. And that's the African way of doing things. That when you are a leader, you do not own those resources. You hold them in trust for the people. So that when there is need, you solve it. They use the resources to solve it. But now our leaders think that when you are a member of parliament and you are given money meant for CDF, that money is yours. That's why we've been saying, even the CDF, how do you play oversight? Yet you have your own kitty that nobody oversees. Wewe una play oversight, unauliza watu maswali, how are you spending money? But you are never asked how you are spending CDF. How? So, as you've said, the political headache should come metamorphose to something bigger.
Yes. Thank you very much, people of the internet. Until another episode. Bye for now. Cheers.